Okay, mighty companions, it's time to go to the next level. Are you ready to go to another level? Are you ready to go to another level? All right, all right. Your life meets you at the same level of enthusiasm you have for it. That's the deal.
We're ready to go to the next cloud.
You ready to go to the next cloud?
Yeah.
Next cloud. Those of you on Facebook Live, welcome to A Course in Miracles. This is Earl Purdy, and it's always my pleasure to share the Course in Miracles. It's always my pleasure to share the Course in Miracles because I remember it. The more I talk about it, the more I remember it. The more I talk about it, the more I remember it. The more I talk about it. If you're here for the first time, I want to welcome you, and also just kind of give you the guidelines for the class. The guidelines for the class is that you don't have to believe it.
What?
You don't have to believe it. You don't have to accept it. You don't have to welcome it. You don't have to believe it. You don't have to accept it. You don't have to welcome it. I can't give you different and new ideas if you think you have to believe me as soon as I say it, or else it does not have credibility. I'll say it again.
Please.
I'm sharing some ideas with you, some ideas that you may agree with, not agree with, believe or not believe.
I don't have to agree. I don't have to agree.
You don't have to agree. You don't have to believe it. You don't have to accept it. You don't have to welcome it. Whether I believe it or not has nothing to do with whether you believe it. Whether you believe it or not has nothing to do with whether I believe it. So it's okay for you to believe how you want to believe, because it's not going to change how I believe if I don't want it to change how I believe. And the same thing is true for you. But we're in a world where it would be good to allow ourselves to be open to new ideas. And if we hear new ideas, we may hear some ideas we want to buy, some ideas that move us, some ideas that transform us. But the world doesn't have to fit into your worldview, and the world doesn't have to fit into mine. Is this something weird? Am I saying something weird? Does everybody in the world have to see things the way you see it, or else they're wrong?
No.
You know, one honest person. Thank you. That one honest person in the room. If we didn't feel that way, we wouldn't be mad so much. If we didn't feel that way, we wouldn't be upset so much. So that's crap to say there's not a part of us that's attached to people seeing it the way we see it. That's the definition of anger. If somebody's doing it differently than the way that I want them to do it, in the way that I think they should do it. That is the definition of upset.
Yes.
So of course there's a part of me that knows the problem is you all.
Yeah. We thought it was you.
No, I know. And, well, that's why I'm here, to show you that it's not.
Thank God for that.
That's right. Thank God that I'm here to show you that your happiness has nothing to do with me. There are a lot of people that would second that emotion. That their happiness didn't have nothing to do with me.
They're not here right now.
And they're not here.
So let's let the meeting begin.
That's right. That's right.
Now we can be honest.
Now we can be honest. Now we can be honest.
This meeting.
We're going to be on page 291, if you have the book, in the section that's called the reflection. It's called the reflection of holiness. But the course is only talking about love or fear. It's talking about innocence. It's talking about love or fear. It's talking about innocence and guilt. I'm going to do the modern language translation of the course as I go along. I'm much more interested in us hearing what it's saying than getting caught up in the language that it's written in.
What chapter?
Chapter 14, on page 291. It's called The Reflection of Holiness. And the Course in Miracles defines holiness as love and innocence and guiltlessness.
And happiness.
And happiness. The reflection of love. The reflection of innocence, the reflection of freedom, the reflection of beauty, the reflection of peace. Take a deep breath, everybody. I feel like we need to bring our energy in. It feels my energy feels very scattered because I'm projecting it on you. Okay. So I know my energy feels very scattered right now. It must gonna be good.
It must be.
Yeah, it must gonna. That's a southern term. Muscana is a southern. That's I'm from the south. It must gonna be.
We fix it good.
Yes.
It's fixing to get good.
Yes, fixing. We fixing something.
Not fixing.
The Course in Miracles defines the atonement as the undoing of fear. The undoing of fear. The correction of error. Hey, mighty companions online, please share the video. And it says, the atonement, which is the undoing of fear, does not make holy, does not make you innocent, does not make you loving. Undoing your fear and anger and guilt doesn't make you lovely, doesn't make you beautiful, doesn't make you holy. It says you were created that way. There's nothing you're going to do that's going to make you innocent and beautiful and valuable and loved. You were created innocent and beautiful and valued and loved.
Yeah. I'll take it. I'll take it. Thank you.
Good news.
I don't understand it, but I'll take
Good
it.
news.
Thank God, because I was an ugly child.
We all were.
Just kidding.
Most babies were.
What the correction of error does is it merely brings unholiness to holiness, which is guilt to innocence, which is fear to love. In other words, what you made to what you are. What I made myself is to think of myself as not being the unlimited loving being that I was created to be by an unlimited loving being. And I've got to take what I have made myself to be and bring it to the truth of who I really am. You have to take what you are telling yourself you are, if it's less than love, and bring it to what you really are, which is unbelievable love. I don't expect you to get excited about what you don't believe.
Thank
Okay,
you.
that's what.
Thank you.
Yeah. I don't. We get motivated and moved by what we believe. Somebody call you out of your name, you get mad because you believe it.
Yes.
You get a rush. You react because you believe it. And what you don't believe, when you hear it, according to this, it doesn't exactly make you jump up and down because it's not what you think about yourself. But if I say you're low down and stupid, and you go, wait a minute, that's because you think you're low down and stupid.
Yeah.
Because if you didn't, you would just look at me like I was crazy if I said that to you. You would look at me in total peace. You wouldn't have any kind of reaction if you weren't given any power to it, because somebody else's opinion of you doesn't have any power over you.
Say what?
Somebody else's opinion of you only has as much power as you give it. I don't have to care what anybody thinks about me. I have to choose to care. You don't have to care about what anybody thinks about you. You have to choose to care. So nobody's hurting your feelings. You're hurting your feelings.
Yes.
About what you are telling yourself about what you're hearing and what someone is saying to you. And I'm saying to you that you have to bring any idea that you are not beautiful to the idea of your beauty. It says right here, bring an illusion to truth. Bring your ego to God. That's the Holy Spirit's only function. So the part of you that loves you, the part of you that knows you deserve love, it has only one job. It's trying to bring all the false ideas you have about yourself to the truth about you. It's trying to bring your ego to God, trying to bring the part of you that thinks you're separate from love and separate from joy to the part of you that knows you are joined with joy and you are joined with love. So there's a part of you that's called the Holy Spirit, the part of you that's linked with your divine self, but also knows you think that the stuff that's going on in your life is real. That part of you is trying to bring every false idea you have about yourself to the truth about yourself. That's called the Holy Spirit. The voice for God, the voice for truth, the voice for the Creator. If you have a problem with the word God, then use another one. All right, I don't have a problem with it, but if you have a problem with it based on your past learning about it, then substitute another word. Don't let the form keep you from hearing the content. The content's what's important. And what's important is to don't keep what you've made from your Creator. In other words, whatever you think of as your lacks, your grievances, your insecurities, your fears, give that to that which created you. Give it up. You would have to give it up if you were honest with yourself about How successful you been in solving your problems?
That's zero.
And remember, a problem, according to the Course, isn't solved if you have to deal with the same problem again later. That means the problem never was solved. If you were really healed, you only needed to be healed once.
Yes.
But if you're being healed over and over and over again, and then you haven't really gone through the real healing yet. So what's the problem? I've been trying to solve it. I have been trying to solve it on my own. That is the problem.
That's a big problem.
That is a big problem. And the Course says, when you hide what you made and what you created for yourself, hiding it has cost you. Hiding from yourself, not being honest with yourself about your own ego, not being honest with yourself about your own anger, your own selfishness, your own guilt, your own jealousy, your own ego. The Course says, keeping that making, hiding that, not giving it up, he says, has cost you the knowledge of God and the knowledge of yourself, which is the same as saying is me not releasing the stuff about myself that's not true up to my Creator. The Course says that's cost me the knowledge of love. I don't know love because I'm only knowing those parts of myself that's not love. I'm focusing on the parts of you that's not love. So therefore, that's costing me the awareness of the love I could have for you and you could have for me. See, between me and you, it's just one thing, our perception of each other. That's the only thing that's keeping us from loving each other. Don't you know that's the only thing that's keeping us from loving each other? It's what we're telling each other and telling ourselves about each other. That is deep. That's deep. So the Course in Miracles says, now the knowledge is safe. You know, the truth is safe. Nothing can affect the truth. Love is love. Nothing can affect love. It says, but where is your safety if you're apart from the truth? Where is your safety if you've forgotten love? Where is your safety if you've forgotten your freedom? Where is your safety if you've forgotten your power? Where is your safety if you've forgotten that we are one? I posted a little photograph yesterday. This was called Racism for Dummies. And it was 3 different colored eggs. And then in the next part of the picture was 3 eggs that look exactly the same the once you cracked the shell. That's racism for dummies. Okay? If you think that you're better than me and I think I'm better than you just because of the color of our bodies, you're a dummy. Okay, you're really dumb. And I don't have no shame in telling you that. You're dumb. If you're a racist, you're dumb. Dumb doesn't mean guilty. Dumb doesn't mean sinful. Dumb, it just means you're ignorant. And ignorant is when you don't know and you're in the darkness and you're in fear. And I don't have any more time to waste on this earth with people who don't want to go beyond their limitations to the love that we all share. I'm too old for that in the body. I don't have time to work on a relationship for years. I could die before we ever solved our problem. When I was in my 20s, I could stay in a pitiful relationship for 10 years. 30s, 12. 40s, longer than that, because then you get desperate. So, I don't care what you do, baby, I ain't going nowhere. I'm scared. I'm scared. I'm just trying to give y'all a message before I leave. Because I'm leaving. All right. Yeah, but the problem, but the truth is, you going with me.
That's right.
There's a bomb in the basement.
You ain't leaving us.
That's what I meant when I said y'all all going with me. No.
Oh, great.
No.
I told you I was moving in.
Welcome to all the newcomers.
So I know if you're here for the first time, you feel real safe right now. That made you feel like this is not a cult. Yeah. So the Course in Miracles says, so what I'm saying is I'm asking for those who want to learn to love and let go of their blocks to join with me in that idea coming up in the next year. My thing for the entire year next year is going to be putting your purpose into practice. How to put your purpose into practice. It's going to be about putting this into practice. That's why I'm going slow. as I go through this, because all it's required to put the Course in Miracles into practice is a willingness to see things another way.
Nice.
Okay?
That's it.
That's it. The other thing about the Course in Miracles is that it's only concerned with your perception. It's only concerned with how you see things and the meaning that you're giving things. It doesn't care whether you're a successful businessman. It doesn't care whether you could get your soulmate body. It doesn't care whether or not you have a six-figure income. The Course in Miracles is not concerned with any of the things that we are concerned about, neither does it condemn it. So let's get it clear. My class is not about how you become a more successful person in the world. It's about how you get rid of the blocks of the awareness of love inside yourself, and it's about how you allow yourself to have peace of mind. Because when you have peace of mind, you can hear your own inner guidance. You can hear the voice. So contrary to what a cult leader would be doing, I am trying to support you in listening to you.
Yes.
Yes.
Who wants to be your leader? I don't. I don't want to be a leader or a follower, because both of them will leave you walking by yourself. If I'm ahead of you, I'm walking by myself, and if I'm behind you, I'm walking by myself. It's only when we walk together that I'm not alone. So I have no interest in leading anybody. Besides, people get upset with you when they want to be the follower for a while and want you to be the leader. And then they get upset with you when you're doing the leader and they want to be the leader. So you don't ever know when that role's going to change. You know, one minute I want you to take charge, and next minute I'm saying, you're not going to dominate me. You know that's what we do. So, all right? So the Course says, the knowledge is safe, but where is your safety apart from the knowledge? The making of time to take the place of timelessness. We have made time to take the place of eternity according to the Course. That we have made things that begin and end to take the place of things that are permanent and forever. There are two things. There's permanent and forever, and temporary that begins and ends according to the Course. Yes. There's a perception that's based on temporary, and there's a perception that's based on seeing that which is permanent. And the Course says that lays in the decision to not be what you are. The reason why we have so many things that don't last in our life is because he says you're not being what you are. You are love. You are spirit. You are powerful. You are a creator. That's what you are. So as long as we don't love, there's nothing we're going to make that's going to last. Love is the only thing that lasts. Anything that's not based and rooted in love doesn't last. So that's why nothing in this world lasts. And we are identifying ourselves with something else that doesn't last, which is our body. So then it looks like we don't last. Okay? And that's because we're not being what we are. Unlimited spiritual beings having a human experience, using bodies to communicate with each other. And the purpose of the body is to join our minds together in love. Yes. My body is here temporarily to allow love to come through me to you. But it ain't me. And it ain't you. So I want to apologize to you for seeing you as you are not for most of my life. and wanting to get hold of your communication device.
Well,
That's
we
right.
forgive you.
Will you forgive me?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Showed up.
So that just simply means you correctly perceive what I was doing. That's what forgiveness means, which is calling for love or expressing love to you. That's all I've ever done to anybody my entire life. No matter what I did my entire life. I was either expressing love, or in some way I was saying, love me. I'm afraid. Love me. You called it anger. You called it guilt. You called it upset. But that wasn't what I was doing. I was saying, help me. Love me. Help me. Now, I might have called you a son of a bitch, but That's
You
getting,
did.
but that's getting caught up in the form the call came in, and not the content of the call, which was, even in my anger, I am saying, I'm afraid. Love me. Give me another way of looking at things. Join with me. And until I start seeing what people are really asking for, my own calls for love will always be met with anger. For instance, I'm mad at you, you're mad at me back. I'm angry at you, you're angry at me back. I feel guilty, you making me feel guilty. Why? Because I'm not seeing through the call for love and seeing it as a call for love. And that's so I attract people to me that do the same thing. So that when I'm most afraid and angry, they get upset with me rather than grabbing me and saying, what's wrong? I love you. What's wrong? Tell me what's up. How can I help you feel safe right now? See, that'll never happen to me until I start doing it to you. I got to stop always expecting everybody to do something for me first. Then I'll give it back. This world is a mirror. If I wanted to see a different color sweater in the mirror, I could stand up in front of the mirror forever and it never change. So I got to change the sweater I'm wearing. So if I want this reflection to show me a different reflection, I've got to put a different type of reflection into the mirror. I've got to stand in front of you as a loving being that wants to love you, who's working on it, before I'll see you as a loving being that's working on it. My world is a reflection of my consciousness. And I can't blame my mama anymore. I can't blame my father anymore. I can't blame my childhood anymore. I can't blame my race, my social economic condition, the fact that I'm a woman, or the fact that I'm a man, or the fact that I'm black, or the fact that I'm whatever, cannot be used as an excuse anymore for me not being happy.
Amen.
Why? Because right now I can choose to see things differently, regardless of what I went through before I reached this moment in time.
Amen.
The purpose of everything you went through before you came here today was to bring you to the point that you're going to make the choice of whether to love yourself and give yourself a loving, peaceful life, or continue the hell of expecting everybody else to change to make you happy.
Yep.
That's the only two people in the world. And so it's saying to us, when you make time, when you get out of touch with your true spiritual identity, it says right here that the truth was made past and the present was dedicated to illusion. Every time I dedicate any moment to anger, guilt, grievance, and separation, I'm dedicating that moment to a false idea, which is an illusion. Most people are doing nothing all day. Because if they're dedicating every moment to a grievance and an upset, they're not dedicating their energy to anything that's real. And they wonder why they're tired. You've been running in place and not going nowhere. That's why you're tired. And then the Course in Miracles says, and the past too was changed and interposed between what always was and new. I'm going to take what happened to me as a child and I'm going to put it between the love that always is. You know, I'm gonna look at you and look at the color of your skin, and because I grew up in the South during the time of segregation, then I'm gonna take that past thought and I'm gonna let it stand between you and me because you're in a white body. One of the most incredible experiences for me was when I was in Memphis a couple of weeks ago, and I was there in what was called the Orpheum Theater, which is a renovated theater. Like they take those old theaters and they renovate them and they make them look like awesome. Well, my granddaughter was in performing with the premier ballet company in Memphis. And I was sitting in the orchestra pit watching her on a stage that when I was her age, I had to come into the side of that very building and couldn't come into the front because there was a colored entrance with a colored water fountain and a colored restroom. And I had to sit up at the third balcony up because we couldn't sit downstairs. That's how much segregation I grew up with. And then there I was, sitting in that very same theater down in the orchestra watching my granddaughter perform on stage with a totally integrated cast of people. As a matter of fact, it was a Nutcracker suite, and it was it started out with this couple that was a parent and their two children, and the couple was white and their two children were black in Memphis. Okay, you hear what I'm saying? So I'm sitting there having that surreal experience, right? So I could sit there and I could focus on the past in a fearful way and let that stand between the present love of that moment. And that's what the Course in Miracles is saying too. The past that you remember never was. The past that nothing happened the way you remembered it in your childhood. Some of you know what I'm talking about. As you got older and some of your adult relatives told you what was really going on when you were a kid, it freaked you out because you had no idea what was really going on. Your perception of your childhood is warped. It's distorted. It is not true. As a matter of fact, you're looking at it from the perspective you had as an unaware child at that time. It wasn't like you were looking at your childhood from an aware place when you were 10 years old. So every time you trust your experience from childhood, you're trusting something that you made up as a fantasy. Now, there may have been some physical things that happened to you. I'm not denying that. But they wouldn't happen to you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Your childhood was not completely all horrible, miserable, you being mistreated in some way. So why would I want to keep focusing on the part that keeps me from loving? It's because I'm afraid. I'm afraid to live my life now. I'm afraid to claim my power now. So I'm going to come up with all these excuses from the past. You know, I can't have a relationship that works because my mama dropped me on my head when I was 3. And so every time I meet somebody, it can't happen.
Sorry about
You know, the only thing that's happened is if you don't have one, you don't want one. If you have one, you want one. The condition it's in is the condition you want it to be in. The condition it could be would be the condition you want it to be. There is nothing happening in your experience that you are not calling to yourself for a lesson in love and awakening. That is the only thing that's happening with all of us, even though it looks like we're having different experiences. We're all learning how to love and give ourselves peace and fulfillment and happiness. That's what's happening. That's what's happening. All right? 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 So I chose to be born in the South. I chose to be born black. I chose to be born in the black body. I chose to be born in a family that it looked like my mother and father weren't together. I chose to be born in a family that it looked like my father had a problem with alcohol. I chose for my soul's evolution and growth. I was not a victim of that. That was a choice my soul made. Now, that sounds way out, but that's what the truth teaches us, that we're never a victim of what's happening. There's always some type of a lesson in love. But that makes a lot more sense to me than a lot of stuff I was taught.
Yes.
That can make sense to me that there could be an ultimate purpose for being here beyond what we think it is. That doesn't sound weird. If you think I'm weird because I say you deserve to be loved, you're weird. If you tell somebody about your spiritual path and in your spiritual path you're trying to become a more loving person and you're in a relationship and they start ridiculing you, you need to pay attention to that. You're with somebody that thinks you're weird because you said you wanted to improve yourself and become a more loving person. Anybody that ridicules that, you already know what kind of experience you're going to have with them. They're letting you know immediately it's not going to end well. They're letting you know that. But what do? We hide ourselves as if standing up for the fact that we want to be loving beings is something that we need to hide from people so we won't seem weird. Everybody in my family hugs on each other. And I was one of the first ones that grabbed all of them when they thought I was, what? You know, my arm around them. I didn't grow up in a house where I got a lot of physical demonstrations of affection. That's why I regret that we aren't affectionate with each other because we so hopelessly confuse affection with sexuality. So unless I'm your special partner, you can't hug me, you can't touch me, you can't put your arm around, because I'm not your special partner. That's reserved for your special partner. I'm not trying to have sex with you, it's a hug. I love hearing that that's disappointing to some people. And the Holy Spirit knows who that is.
Yeah.
Send them to me. I asked to know. I asked to know. The last thing I want is somebody that don't want me. The last person I want is the one that doesn't want me.
No matter how they look.
No matter how they look. I'm paying attention to that. I used to not love myself, and it used to be almost like the prerequisite for me wanting you was that you didn't want me.
Yeah.
You know, that
We all
if you
remember
treated
that.
me really, really lovingly, I would lose my desire for you. I would not want to be around you.
Yep.
But if you were mistreating me, I had endless patience.
And desire.
Yeah. Bring it on.
Most passion is just anger taken out on each other.
Ooh.
Why you think so people are so much into makeup sex?
Yeah.
Right? Why? Because it's just anger
Expressed as passion.
and being expressed as passion.
This guy.
But there can be love and passion. But you got to be sane. No sane person is going to want to hook up with you if you're not sane
That's right.
or want to be sane.
Yes.
You may not be there yet, but at least you want to be, right? And so the court says, so that means the past that you never really experienced represents only the denial of the love that's always there. I realize more and more the Course in Miracles is only allowing me to get to the point I can see the blessings in my life that are already there, that I'm so busy complaining that I don't see. And so I have to forgive myself for how much love I've received in the past 68 years that I did not really appreciate. Because as you wake up spiritually, you start to remember all of the love. You were so busy being a selfish, self-absorbed, blaming being
Yes.
that you didn't even see
Yes.
the love
Yes.
that was right there.
Yes.
Right? Right? So when you wake up spiritually, the reason why this book is teaching you forgiveness is so you can forgive yourself.
Yeah.
It's not about ultimately you forgiving somebody. You learning this so you can forgive yourself for being so unaware of the blessings and the love and the opportunities that this universe and spirit are giving you every day. Because you are a priceless treasure. You are beautiful beings.
Right.
Yeah.
You are sane people who learn insane lessons.
Yes.
If you had been taught how to love, you would be more loving.
Yes.
Look, it's amazing that any of us do anything loving
It's a
in the
miracle.
world that we perceive and hear in the general
Yes.
public.
It's a miracle.
It's amazing you're sitting here.
Yes.
You know, I was immediately told when I landed that I was sinful and flawed.
Yes.
That the Son of God died because of me 2,000 years before I was born,
Yeah.
which I couldn't figure out.
Yeah.
But my point is, it doesn't matter what I was taught. I can choose. I can choose to love you as best I can right now. And it's easy to love you because all I have to do is let you be.
What a thought.
That is easier than trying to control you and make you treat me special.
Yes.
Love is easy. What's not love is hard.
Yes. Gotta work for
So
it.
why are these relationships we're in so hard? They're not love. They're specialness. They are singling somebody out trying to make sure they treat you better than anybody else. And you got a list of things they must do in order to get your dysfunctional love.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to be a really good lover. And I want to sentence you to me for the rest of your life. At least if I want to be, you want me to be your everything, you should be very interesting. You should be like a good time like I never could have imagined the rest of my life. If you want that kind of, you want that kind of focus, then you need to be giving up some love. You need to be giving up some joy. You need to be giving up some appreciation.
Like a harem in one.
You know. So, any questions about anything that I've said so far, comments about what I've said so far from the very first paragraph, which is basically saying you got to bring what's not true to what's true. You got to bring your fear to love. You were created perfect. That means you were created complete. So you need to get everything out of your mind that keeps you from knowing how awesome you are. And if you had a problem with that, you got issues. Because I just said you deserve love and only love. You got a problem with that? You got a problem with that? Really? Really? Think about that.
So, and It's been a while since I've been here, so glad to be back.
It's good to see you,
Asking
Chris.
my questions.
It's okay. You can ask the same question for 10 more years.
We're gonna be doing the same.
Because we're going to be doing the same. We're going to be repeating it over and over until we get it. So
Okay.
I'm with you, brother.
So speaking of asking the same question.
Okay.
So you were saying that the soul decides everything, you know. So does the soul also decide addictions, or is that something that went off stray in the plan?
No, love would not want you to be addicted. Just take that word soul and say love, and all of a sudden it won't be so abstract. Would love want you to be addicted?
No.
No. Love, but could love use your addiction to wake you up to what love is?
Oh,
Yes. See, it's never the thing the person that's addicted to is really what they're into. It's really it's the guilt and the shame that they get from the addiction that they're addicted to. So the minute if they truly felt innocent about it, they'd lose their desire for it, or at the very least, they'd have a choice about it. See, the more I learned that I was free and innocent, you would think, oh, I'm free, I'm innocent, I'm free, I'm innocent. I can have any kind of experience I want. It's amazing that when you really let go of your anger and your guilt and grievances, you will find that you will have more self-control. And you won't be buck wild. Because your peace will be so important to you that you won't want to do anything that's not going to give you your peace. It's only when you're guilty and you hate yourself that you go wild. The world is going wild, quite wild, because of the belief in guilt. And so an addiction is just a way to get that guilt that keeps the separate self going, the separate ego going. Now don't forget the rule now. You don't have to believe me, 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 you don't have to agree with me, you don't have to agree with me, you don't have to agree with me. Okay? All right, so if you start to feel all tight and your butt kind of getting tight and stuff, just remember that I'm not expecting you to agree with everything the Course in Miracles says necessarily. I shouldn't be in front of the room if I expect everybody to agree with me, but that shouldn't stop me saying what it is that needs to be said from it. So I'll say it again. If I feel innocent about something, it doesn't run me like it does when I'm trying to get the guilt. So what I found was, that's when I got more control over my sexuality. That's when I got more control over my finances. That's when I got more control of my body. It was when I started to feel free and innocent and connected to God and love. Then if I wanted to experience any of those things, I could experience it in innocence because I could experience it with someone, number one, that wants to experience it with me, know that we're one, know that we're innocent and is willing to take responsibility for the experience that we have together. And we know the purpose of joining is to bring us into a higher level of love and awareness. Now, that's good loving.
Yeah.
But to do it just out of a desire for me to have a momentary pleasure that I feel guilty about later, I don't have time for that anymore. And it certainly is not going to be used for me as the symbol of how much you love me. I will not make how much you love me be based on what you do with your body. That's not me. Because the body isn't going to last, but we are. So I'm not going to do it. But should you do it? Yeah, if that's your thing, do it. But if you're really about it, you'll attract somebody else who want to do it too.
That's right.
See, if you're really about what you say you're about, it's a universal law. You're going to call to you someone that is just like you, what you're doing all the time. But you're just in denial that other person is just like you. If you're the conservative, always attracted to the liberal, then you got a part of you that's liberal. And the liberal, you got a part of you that's conservative. That you're not different. It's an illusion that you're different. You're not different. You just, both of you are just presenting to each other the parts of each other that you are unconscious of. And that's why the relationship is so compelling. It's because they look like they're different from you, but you can't get away because they are just like you.
And you're in denial.
And you're in denial about it. You're in denial. It's no accident that you attract the same people over and 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 over until you love yourself. And how can you tell when you're ready to break a pattern? You'll take responsibility for having it. As long as you're blaming somebody else, you still want to keep the pattern going. That's how you know if you want to keep the pattern going. You're still seeing yourself as the victim according to this, which you don't have to agree with, right?
Be aware.
Anybody else?
we got it.
I think so. Be aware and recognize the
Yes.
pattern. Here we go.
This is the next paragraph. Bringing the ego to God is but to bring error to the truth. Where the error stands corrected, the error stands corrected because it is the opposite of what it meets. What the error stands corrected because it is the opposite of what it meets. The error is undone. The error is undone because the contradiction can no longer stand. How long can contradiction stand when its impossible nature is clearly revealed? How long can a contradiction, how can its impossible nature stand when it is revealed? What disappears in light is not attacked. What disappears in love is not attacked. What disappears in love is not attacked. What disappears in truth is not attacked. What is not true merely disappears, it vanishes. What is not true merely vanishes because what is not true is not true. So what is not true is going to vanish. Different realities are meaningless. The idea of different realities are meaningless, for reality must be one. In reality, everything is love. One. Reality cannot change with time or mood or chance. Love cannot change with time or mood or chance. Love doesn't change with time or mood or chance. What? Love's changelessness is what makes it real. What makes love real? It never changes. If it's love, you never lose it. If it's love, you can never lose it. If it's love, it just expands. If it's love. This cannot be undone. What love is cannot be undone. Undoing is for unreality. What's not real is what needs to be undone. And guess what? Reality, love will undo what is not love for you. I'll say it again. Love will undo what's not love for you. That's why sometimes when you first get into the truth and you want to be more loving, it'll look like your relationships go to hell. It'll look like all of them vanish. People leave you. Relationships end. Because now you're bringing love into the situation. And everything that's not real, everything that's not love is going to be revealed really quick. The truth will undo what's not true for you. That's cool. So if I come at you in a loving way and you're not ready for that, you're going to disappear. You're going to separate from me. And so at first there was a lot of people separating from me. And they were separating from me because it looked like I was selfish to them. And it looked like I was selfish to them because I wouldn't let them control me anymore. Because I no longer feel like I needed to change in order for somebody else to be happy. Because I'm okay with myself. I'm a good person. I'm a loving person. I'm a conscious person. I'm taking responsibility. If you're going to change a person like that, you have a problem. And I wouldn't put on the earth to act out your fantasy.
What?
No. No. Now, the minute I got that people were not put on the earth to act out my fantasies, it was amazing how many people came into my life that acted out my fantasies. And they acted out my fantasies not because they were trying to act out my fantasies. They were just naturally the way that acted out my fantasies. You see what I just said? It's like I like the color red, you like blue, so I'm going to guilt trip you into trying to like red. That's called our regular relationships.
Special relationship.
Okay, that's our special relationship. Well, I could still love red, and the universe could send me somebody that naturally loves red and would love red if they had never met me. So they're still being themselves, and they're totally satisfying to me. I just have to let go of my addiction as to who's supposed to bring me the red. So as soon as you decide on who you think is supposed to make you happy, it's a possibility you just delayed your happiness. And you know that's true by your track record.
Oh, baby.
See, nothing that I'm saying is nothing that you can't look back at your own experience and see the validity of. If you really were that good at choosing, if your chooser was really that good, you would have no guilt about your past relationships because you would believe they truly served a beautiful purpose and you learned as much as you could from each other, and now you've appeared to separate from each other, no harm, no foul.
Correct perception. Amen. You talking about my picker?
Anybody have any questions about what I just said? Anything that you need a little bit of clarity on from a Course in Miracles perspective? Or just a comment that you'd like to make?
Clear, Captain.
Oh, I do. I got one.
Okay.
There's a saying that I read a book on, and I believe it. What you think of me is none of my business.
What you think of me is none of my business. I think that's awesome. And also, how is none of your business either.
That's right.
How something's going to happen isn't any of your business.
That's right.
What's going to happen is.
That's right.
So if people put more attention, focus more attention on their purpose and their goal, like they always try to put on how they're going to make it happen, they'd have it happen a lot faster.
Yes.
How isn't your business. You don't know enough to be able to control all the factors involved in how. As a matter of fact, you'd have to become a control freak because you're going to have to try to get everybody to do what you want them to do in order to act out your purpose. And let me tell you something. People are attracted to whoever's going to help them achieve their goal.
That's right.
You better be sure. I know you like to believe everybody around you is more altruistic than that, but it's not that way. You're here because I'm helping you reach your goal today. For truth or for hearing the Course. Right. That's why you're here, because you see me as a means to achieve what you want. Right. That's what everybody's doing with you.
Yes.
People are attracted to you if they see you as a means for achieving their goal.
Yes.
So the thing is, what is your goal? And if my goal is love and the truth, then I can use all of you for that. I can use all of you to learn the truth through. I can use all of you to learn how to let go of my fear and to get more sane with. I can't use all of you for my special fantasies.
That's right.
So if it's something that's true, everybody's acceptable. There is no one that you're picking and choosing when you truly want only the truth. But if I want some level of specialness, I'm going to pick one of you all over somebody else because there's some special need I think you can fulfill for me. And that's why I asked for your phone number. Why didn't I ask for everybody's phone number? Well, because I didn't see everybody as meeting that need, and I called that I was attracted to you. That go by the code name, I'm attracted to you.
So you want to use
I
it for a
see
purpose.
you as a person who can help me reach a goal that I have, and that goal is to be special.
Yes.
That goal is to have my fantasies of love taken care of, or whatever it is. And so the Course is saying, all right, don't feel guilty about that. There's nothing to feel guilty about. Just change your perception of what the purpose of the relationship is. See, my purpose for being with you right now is to remember this and to hear this, right? So that's a cool purpose.
So the purpose is the exact opposite of expectations.
Expectation is the mother of grievances.
It still connects you to fear.
Absolutely, because I'm always upset about somebody for not meeting my expectations. You didn't act out my script. You didn't act out my script. I'm mad. You did not act out my script. I'm mad. And I'm going to use anger and guilt to get you to do what I want you to do.
Yes.
Y'all know we do it?
Yes.
Come on now. Don't look at me like, he's a strange black man. What is he saying? It's like, y'all know doggone well we do that. And as soon as we all admit we do it together, we will become enlightened. Because even if you don't tell me you do, I know you do.
Yeah.
So you just the way I say it.
We
It
do.
is not because you're quiet, I don't think you do it. We are the same.
Yes. Yes.
If we weren't the same, we couldn't see each other. If we weren't the same, we wouldn't even be sitting up here.
Yes.
If we weren't the same as the people in the world, we wouldn't be seeing the people in the world. So I'm trying to tell you now. I'm trying to tell you, if you want to know what's going on within you, it's what's going on without you.
Woo, baby.
Everything that's happening on the outside is what's happening on the inside.
Yes.
You know, whatever you see in the world, there's a part of your mind that's exactly the same way. There's a part of your mind that attacks and a part of your mind that wants peace. There's a part of your mind that's selfish and there's a part of your mind that's unselfish. There's a part of your mind that wants specialness and there's a part of your mind that wants freedom. We all know we do the same thing at different at times. And this is why he's saying to us that you need to recognize that you were created innocent.
Yes.
That when you bring your mistakes to the truth is the opposite of the mistake. So if I'm fearful, the opposite of that is love. If I'm feeling guilty, the correction of that is my innocence. Okay? Then it goes on to say, how long can a contradiction of the fear stand when its impossible nature is clearly revealed? In other words, it's impossible for you to lose eternal love. It's impossible for you to lose God's love. It's impossible for you to lose the love of someone who loves you. So how can your fear stand when the impossibility of me not loving you has been revealed?
Amen.
There's no way you're going to stay afraid of me all the time if I'm only giving you love. Whatever fear you have is going to go away sooner or later.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like once you experience truth, then the opposite of it can no longer stand. And then it says right here, what disappears in love is not attacked. So when I have a problem with you and I want that problem to disappear, the last thing I want to do is attack you. If I want the problem between us and the separation between us to disappear, it says right here, what disappears in light, what disappears in truth, what disappears in love is not attacked. And here I was, Mr. Anger of the universe. I was a tyrant in my 20s. And as opposite to the person that you see standing up here as you could imagine in lots of ways, but only with my family.
Of course.
Oh, you got one up
Special ones.
Only with the special ones.
Yeah.
Because those are the ones I had the biggest scripts for.
Yes.
As you look at me as if you don't do the same thing. Okay. You've never got mad at a family as anybody special.
No.
You never got upset at anybody that was special to you at all. But I know you have.
Yeah.
Okay. Not only do I know you have, I know you're innocent.
Yes.
I know you were acting out of fear. I know you were acting out of insecurity. I know you were acting out of what you were programmed to be and to do.
Yes.
And so the course says, what disappears in love is not attacked. It vanishes because it's not true. Your fear and your distrust of me is going to vanish because there's no reason to do it. There's no reason to distrust me. I don't try to trust anybody. I don't try to love anybody. I just try to get out of the way so that the love can come through me to everybody. I don't create love. I don't make love. I make fear. So I would go, hey baby, let's make some fear that night.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying.
Yes.
You're not saying you can't make love.
Exactly.
It's not like a cake. I'm gonna make love with you.
Yeah.
No, I'm gonna make fear with you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's why I'm at the health department the next week getting checked out. Now, the truth is, oh, none of y'all ever been. None of y'all ever had any fear about anything around your expression of it. Come on, get real. Adults. I refuse to teach my classes at the 12-year-old level. I'm not going to do it. I am not going to do it. So if you're embarrassed, don't come back. I'm going to talk to adults in 2019 like they're adults. I'm going to talk to us like we're adults. We need to stop acting like little children. If you said something sexual, come on, get real. AIDS was the best thing that ever happened to monogamy. AIDS was the best thing. Incurable sexual diseases are behind more monogamous relationships than you can imagine. They're not doing nothing with nobody else because they're scared.
Yes.
It has nothing to do with that's the way they want to be for some people. Some people, they're doing it because that's really genuinely the way they want to be. Some people, they're just scared. And unfortunately, I was around during that time between when the birth control pill first came out and there wasn't any kind of sexual diseases you could die from. And it was so much guilt made during that period, that's where all the rest of it came from. That's where the rest of it came from.
Yep.
The backlash to the guilt that people felt about breaking all of society's rules about how you're supposed to do sex and relationships in the late 60s.
Exactly. Year of love.
That's why, and during the time of the hippies, and peace and love was the most violent time in American history.
Yes. Yes.
Right? Why? Because the ego was defending against love.
Yes.
That's why when you say you want to be loving, you got to be patient and be connected to source, because your old self is going to try to do battle with your new self to make you think you're crazy for even trying to trust and be more loving. So the ones you hear you should trust and love, you could probably come up on the worst relationship you ever had in your life.
Right after.
Or make the stupidest choice right after you make that decision, because your ego wants to make you think you're crazy for even believing you can open up and trust people. Because I'm much more comfortable being suspicious of you and holding myself back with you than I am in saying, hey, I'm wide open to all of you all. So don't think for a second that love doesn't scare us.
It does.
Or the idea of telling us we need to be more loving with each other doesn't scare. It does scare us. Because we think love is what, according to the Course, it says we think that love is the thing that's let us down the most, that's hurt us the most, that the people who's supposed to love us the most have been the ones who've abused us and used us the most. So if you come to a class and somebody's saying love, 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 that doesn't attract a lot of people. I've been teaching here 18 years to the same number of people. I've been teaching here for 18 years to the same number of people. For 18 years. Telling people they're innocent and loving and deserve to have love is not a crowd attractor. But if I was saying you were guilty and sinful and going to hell, I could probably have a mega church with my way of expressing myself.
Yes, you could.
I could have had a totally big
Yes.
congregation if I just told people they were going to hell.
Yes.
But see, the message is you're already in hell.
Exactly. I had noticed.
You're already in hell.
Yes.
Trying to get out.
Yes.
Trying to change your mind so you can get out of it. If you are in a place where anything can happen to you at any time,
Yes.
where you could lose your loved ones, that's hell.
That's right.
Just because you can go to the Caribbean doesn't make it heaven.
Right.
Because there are a lot of people that's drowned on the beach. So being in a beautiful environment in the world is not a guarantee that you're going to have a safe experience. You want to be somewhere you can't be harmed at all. You can't die at all. You can't be attacked. And you don't have to die to go there. You have to change your consciousness. Change your mind. Your mind is creating your experience because you are a child of a creator.
Yes. Yes, we are. Yes, we are.
So join me on the idea that you're a powerful being that deserves love. Join me on the idea that you want a love that doesn't change with time or mood or change. You know, I've had them moody lovers. I've been a moody lover. You know what I'm saying? In the morning, you just, in the evening, stay away. You know, it changes, right? And then it says, this cannot be undone. That if I love you, if we're connected, if it's real, nothing can come between us. That's why I'm not jealous. I'm not jealous of you talking to that guy over in the corner because I know nothing can come between us. I know our love is real. So I can get on the phone and fire the private detective. I can call him up and let him know I don't need his services no more. Cancel. Okay? If I'm jealous, I don't think it's real. 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 If I'm afraid, I don't think it's real. Does that mean that I'm bad? No, it just means I'm scared.
Yes.
And so therefore, what do I need? I need to experience a love that I cannot lose. We need to communicate. How can we get past this? How can you help me get past my fear? Because I don't want to limit you. And then it says undoing is for unreality. For what's not real is what we need to undo.
Yes.
Anger, guilt, grievances, separation. He says, and this reality will do for you.
Yeah.
The love will do it for you. Truth will do it for you. God will do it for you. The universe will take care of the unreal for you because you were created as love, you were created in love, and all you deserve is happiness. All you deserve is freedom. All you deserve is abundance. All you deserve is peace. And you want to be around people that's reminding you of that.
Yeah.
That's a holy relationship.
Yes.
Thank you for listening to this much Holy Spirit. Give it up to you. Give me some. Woo. Woo. Lord have mercy. And let's give it to our worthy opponents. Yeah. And who are your worthy opponents? They're the people that force you to use the truth. To deal with them, you have to practice. You can't just talk it. You got to practice it. So we're going to do the financial expression of appreciation. As a full-time teacher, I do it on a donation basis so that no matter what a person's financial situation is, they can come to my classes. But thank you for your support. Thank you for your support. Thank you, God, for your support. Thank you, Universe. And those of you watching on Facebook Live, if you'd like to make a financial expression of appreciation, and there's nothing wrong with receiving for what you do.
That's right.
Yeah.
All artists, musicians, and spiritual people need to get off that belief that they can't receive abundance and prosperity. People don't have a problem with a basketball player making $100 million a year. But if you're teaching people how to love themselves more, they resent you receiving money a lot of times at all. It's really weird. Everything here is just the opposite of what's true. It's so funny. So thank you. If you like to do that, go to my website, Earl Purdy, PURDY.com, earlpurdy.com. And those of you who would like to have a clarity session with me, so I can show you how to apply this to a situation or circumstance in your life that you know you reached your limit and you're ready to get past the block. I've been doing this for almost 40 years. And those who are open to it, I've also done soul astrology and numerology for years. The weird stuff is what you might want to open your mind to. The idea that there is a purpose for your life. The fact that you are soul and you came here to evolve and learn certain things. That there are certain talents and gifts and lessons for you to learn. They can also be shared in many areas of divination. Spirit is trying to use everything to wake us up to love. And so Western culture is so left-brain that it leaves out the intuitive, psychic side, which is a shame because it's a lot easier to live by guidance than to live by trying to figure everything out on your own. It's a lot easier to live by listening to the voice for God in you, the divine in you. That's how you want to live. It's not about you figuring everything out. It's about you getting everything out the way that keeps you from hearing God's voice.
Save a little time.
That'll save a lot of time. I love being told. And that was one of the things that the Course in Miracles promises, is that if you really study it, you'll learn how to hear the voice for God in you. And it's a loving voice. It's not going to be something that's telling you to attack. Right? And I also want to invite you to go to Anna Gadawa's Course in Miracles class on Mondays. At what's the address, Anna?
1939 South Monroe Street.
1939 South Monroe Street at 7 p.m. on Monday evenings. Anna and I have been friends for decades, and we both came to the same conclusion that there was nothing more important than using our bodies for a conduit to allow the good, the beautiful, and the holy to come into this world. Because that's all you deserve. That's the only thing that you deserve. So what's one thing you heard today that you want to remember and take with you into the week? Anybody?
The past is an illusion.
The past is an illusion, which means it ain't happening now. Say, past means gone. It means gone. Time has already taken away the thing you spending all your time trying to let go of. You cannot not let go of what's already gone. December the 15th is already gone, but I'm trying so hard to let it go. That's the way it is with your past. Y'all are trying to let go of something that's already gone. And nobody knows about it until you tell them. You make up an ego for everybody around you by telling them all about your past. And then they start looking at you in terms of your, well, I really like you now. I know you're crazy. Say, I was about to give you the benefit of the doubt. I didn't know it was spraying all out on you. You know what I'm saying? So my point is, that's why sometimes it's good to move to a new location away from everybody that thinks they know you. Or even within the city. Make some new friends this year. Make some people, get to know some people who don't know your history, who haven't already decided what they can and cannot do with you. And so y'all don't have any more surprises in y'all relationship with each other. You follow me? They either decide they're going to love you up or not love you up or spend time with you. They've already decided where they're going to categorize you after a while. And that's why it looked like you had the same experience with them over and over again. Because you come up with all these, you know each other now. So give yourself fresh people like you give yourself fresh water. And appreciate the ones that are already there who have been appreciating you. Is that cool?
Yeah, that's good.
Is that cool?
Good New Year's resolution.
And so Spirit is telling me to say at the end of this, let miracles replace all grievances. And we're going to say that as a chant. Who feels like it? Okay, those of you who don't, I want to ask you to do me a favor. Allow yourself to be quiet and just listen. I'd rather have two people who enthusiastically saying this because they want to and let everybody else listen than someone doing it half-heartedly. Okay? Let miracles replace all grievances. Take a breath. Take a breath. Would you like to have miracles replace all grievances? Let me ask you that first. Online, are you willing to have miracles replace all grievances? Okay. And the Course in Miracles says Christmas means the end of sacrifice. That you should be saying, Merry end of sacrifice. Oh, merry end of sacrifice. Oh, merry end of sacrifice. Let miracles replace all grievances. Let miracles replace all grievances. Let miracles replace all grievances. Let miracles Now I want you to think of somebody. I want you to think of somebody right now that you may have some grievances with. Somebody when you see them in King Supers, you go to the other way. All right? You know, you got them in your mind. And not you. That's the cop out. Don't go to you. Think of somebody. You ready? Let miracles replace all grievances. 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 Put some juice in it. Let miracles replace all grievances. Let miracles replace all grievances. And say this. I am entitled to miracles. Say it for yourself. I am entitled to miracles. Say what? I am entitled to miracles. What? I am entitled to. Now look at each other and go, you are entitled to miracles. You are entitled to miracles. You are entitled to miracles. You are entitled. And what about we? We are entitled to miracles. We are entitled to miracles. We are entitled to miracles. We are entitled to miracles right now. Give it up, mighty companions. Come on now. This is for you. This is for you. Hey, I love you. I appreciate you. Have the greatest merry end of sacrifice and Happy New Year. And hugs are available. And May the course be with you. I appreciate y'all. See you next time. Yeah.